Well, hi, welcome to our June MACAE membership check-in. You see, I'm in my nice polo shirts, which means that we've now changed to summer apparel and weather, and even in the office, trying to be a little more summer-like. So good morning, everyone. Welcome. We are recording today's session for those that weren't able to make it, but if you want to go ahead and say hello in the chat, I always like to see who's on, and it's just great to say hello, put your name and your program. And I think it'd be a good place to start if there's anyone who's just joining us for the first time. If you'd like to unmute and say hello, is there anyone that's just joining us for the first membership check-in that we've been having? Seeing a lot of familiar faces. All right, well, if you are new and this is your first time, welcome. And we will go ahead and share our screen and get started here.
Okay.
A couple of things that I just wanted to acknowledge and mention is that as we come into June, it is LGBTQIA celebration month. So in the spaces that you work, we're celebrating our colleagues, the families that we work with, and the participants and students that we may be working with each and every day that are being their authentic selves, and we want to acknowledge and honor that in our work and in all of the celebrations that we have ongoing. So just wanted to make you aware of that, and I hope that you have events planned or that you're participating in different events in your personal or professional space to be able to do that, and just want to acknowledge and celebrate that. I also want to acknowledge and celebrate a few milestones and achievements as we come to the end of another program year. We have several members that are transitioning and moving on to bigger and better things. I just want to give a shout out to Kendall McVicker at Southgate Adult Alternative Community Education, who is transitioning out of that role into a fabulous new role as an assistant principal and athletic director within the district. We want to congratulate her on that achievement. It's always great to see people go on to different things. We want to also acknowledge Al Peter from Mount Morris, who is retiring from adult and community education there. And we wish him well in his retirement as he transitions to hopefully a more relaxing time. It's been a tumultuous last couple of years, and so we want to acknowledge that. And we also want to acknowledge Sue Chappell at Allegan Adult and Online Education. She has been with that program for 28 years and is retiring at the end of June. And so we want to thank her and all of the other folks that are transitioning and leaving, whatever that looks like for them as they continue to move forward in their own lives. And so just thank you for your contributions. If you want to say congratulations and thank those people in the chat, please do so. But I also want to say for the record publicly that no one else can get any more ideas about leaving or retiring. So I just want to have that on the record. I see some faces saying, that sounds like a good idea. No, it sounds like a terrible idea. You want to be engaged with this work for a little while longer. So thank you and congratulations to everyone. And if we missed anyone, you can put that in the chat too, and we can share that announcement at the end as well. I would like to, again, just acknowledge the culmination of another year. You know, it's hard to believe. I was looking back at some of the achievements that as an association we've been a part of, and you have all been a part of. The year started for us at MACAE with a meeting and convening from the governor over in West Michigan. And you see that's in one of the photos there. She's speaking, and that was to launch the My Stairs program, which we're going to talk a little bit about later today and kind of where things are at with that. Which was an apprenticeship opportunity for adult education learners. We had many of our programs return to some version of face-to-face, like at Celine, where they were able to offer some of those camps that they've been long awaited to be able to do in the community education program. We had others that kind of lean into this technology A's, such as Southwest Solutions, started a podcast for their youth programming. When we started to see face-to-face. Many of you at different conferences like the Houghton Lake staff, it was great to hang out with them at the Mayo conference and the MACAE conference. And then our board of directors was able to convene and get together really en masse for the first time a couple of times this year, doing our best to social distance, but we're all huggers for sure. And it was nice to be able to get together with them and convene. We had a delegation from Michigan, a large delegation, I would say the largest we've had in several years, go out to Seattle for the COABE conference. And so you see that picture there with so many folks, different vendor partners, some of our state adult education office colleagues, and certainly many of our providers that were able to go there. And then we were able to have celebrations like at Farmington when they had their ESL Thanksgiving celebration and Culture International Festival that they do. And then we were able to celebrate in graduations, like at the MSU HEP program at the end of their year. And forget it or not, we put on a virtual conference for 250 individuals, as well as a Spring Institute for about the same number as well. So it's been a full year. And then we got to see many of you just last month at the MAETC conference in Kalamazoo. And it was great to see lots of not just one or two faces, but multiple faces from each program. Like we got to see the Mylan team there. So just great. I'm so happy that we're kind of returning to this reinvigorated, re-energized state. I was a little hairy there for a while, and I was about ready to throw my laptop out of the window if I had one more Zoom meeting. So I'm happy that we're returning into this kind of hybrid space where we get a little bit of both, right? That convenience of the virtual, but also that in-person experience as well. So thank you all for those contributions. And I am going to now turn it over to our colleague, Elaine Pardik. If you remember from New Readers Press, we have been announcing a series of different initiatives that we just want to remind you of as we come to the end of the year. Some of these initiatives are ongoing and there's still opportunities for you to be engaged with them. And this is really a benefit as a part of your overall membership. And so I just wanted to share and have Elaine come and remind us of all of the different partnership opportunities that are available to you. So if you'll give me a second, I will switch over, and then Elaine, you can certainly go ahead and take it away.
All right. Well, thank you, Patrick. I appreciate it so much. And hey, good morning, everyone. It's good to see you guys again. I think I've been on like most Tuesdays for the last month. I've been around here a lot. But I just wanted to take a little bit of time this morning. First of all, to just, I know most of you know I'm with New Readers Press, but I just want to make sure that most of you know that New Readers Press is a sister company for Pro Literacy. We're the publishing division for Pro Literacy. And so, what Patrick and I did together, we worked together this year. What do I have on the next slide, Patrick? It's kind of hard when I don't know which one, can't remember. There we go. This year, early in the fall, we announced our statewide pro-literacy membership for your organization. So I just wanted to touch, I'm just going to spend a brief moment this morning, and I'm just going to touch on some of these benefits that you still have time to use this year. And if you haven't started to use them, that you might say, oh, I need to do that. So one of the big things right now is you're spending down your funds, part of your statewide pro-literacy membership, you receive 25% discount on New Readers Press published materials. And so you might say, well, how do I know the pricing? Where can I find it? So Patrick, if you go to the next slide for me, please. If you want to know how to find the order form, you just go to the New Readers Press site. Then you'll scroll all the way down to the bottom, and you're going to see right there where it'll say how to order. When you click on that, then the download and order form will pop up. And then Patrick, if you want to go to the next slide. All right, over there in the far right-hand corner, you'll see member pricing. So you can download this document and have it handy and know, you can always look and see what your pricing is. So once again, you guys are members of Pro Literacy, so you receive those discounts all year. Those are, available to you all the time. So that is just, and then another thing that I'm always happy to do for folks, if you want to fill out your form and email it over to me, I'm happy to put it together in a quote for you and send it back. So whatever is easiest. And if there's any other discounts that apply, I always make sure I put them on there. Yes, I will. Oh, in the chat. I'm terrible about putting things in the chat, but I'm going to send the links to Patrick. And Patrick, can you make sure they get to everybody? Okay, that'll help. Okay. Can't do two things at once. I'm not a multitasker. Okay. So then, but yes, we'll make sure you get that. So then the next thing that you have as part of your statewide membership is you have free access for 1 year to our News for You. So you've already received that, and you should have already received the email notification for this 1-year access. So if you aren't using it and you're not sure you ever received an email notification, then you can either let Patrick know or email me directly, and then we'll make sure you get set up. But you don't want to miss out on using News for You. You know, every Wednesday, 7 new stories are posted. There's all kinds of activities. It comes with a teacher guide. You have access to past stories. This is wonderful to share with your program, and it's free the first year. And so you should try to utilize that. They can use it on their laptops, iPhones, computers. You can use it in class, out of class. It's just a wonderful resource, and this is free for you. So if you haven't logged in and signed up, feel free to reach out to me and I'll help you with that. And then in the presentation that in my slideshow, I do have a link to a video that walks you through it, but I'm not going to do that today, but I'll make sure Patrick has that so you can watch the little 3-minute video that'll kind of walk you through how to use News for You. Okay, I didn't, okay, that's good. We can go to the next slide. Then one of the next and most important things that you have available to you by being a Pro Literacy member is if you go to the Pro Literacy website and you'll go to, I think it's resources, there's a tab there, but it'll be for grants and funding. And then I think if you click the next slide, I might have put one too many slides in there. Let's see. Okay, oh, I didn't know I did it like that. Oh goodness, surprise myself every day. Anyway, there's the Literacy Opportunity Fund is brand new. If you haven't even looked at that one, you should, because that's for basically any kind of general operating expenses. So yes, that's very basic, general operating expenses. And usually the awards are run between $3,000 and $6,000. And that is generously funded from Dollar General Foundation, Lancome, and other sponsors, Nora Roberts Foundation. So there's money there for your program for general operating expenses. So it is big, and you can look for things that might help your program with things you're struggling with. Then also the National Book Fund, the window on that is certain times throughout the year, but that's a wonderful time to look through our print materials and see if there's something there that maybe you just couldn't get on your own. And this is a wonderful way to add some new materials to your program. Pro Literacy, the Mobile Learning Fund, is available year round. It's a rolling fund. So if that's one of those things, if you ever want to explore or try digital, it's a wonderful way to take a look at that for your program. So I'd highly recommend applying to all 3 of these throughout the year to help your program grow. Another thing you have available to you through Pro Literacy is all the webinars that either New Readers Press or Pro Literacy hosts throughout the year. Yes. Oh, that's wonderful. Thanks, Kristen. Yes, on the Pro Literacy website, all webinars done throughout the year and past years is saved and archived. And so like if you go to proliteracy.org/webinars, a calendar will pop up, and all you have to do is click on the date, and then the recordings there, the PowerPoints there, everything you want is there. So there's just a wealth of information that's available to you as far as recorded webinars that I think would be helpful. And then I'm not sure they could qualify for credits. And if so, and if you do watch it and you can't download the certificate, let me know, and we can always make sure you get a certificate. Okay, we can go to the next one. Okay, here's some of the links that we mentioned earlier: the Pro Literacy website, your membership for if you need to check on your membership for Pro Literacy, and then the Education Network, which I'm going to speak on that here in just a minute, and then also New Readers Press for your materials. So the next slide is the Education Network. If you haven't taken the time to go in and set up your accounts, because you're Pro Literacy members, you have this free account and you have access to everything. It's not a select set of materials. You have access to everything. So you just simply go to the Pro Literacy member and you log in and create your account. And when you do this, you're going to have access to so many online courses for your program. Patrick, let's see if we can go to the next slide. And I just wanted to share, These are all free resources for you. So if you're looking and considering maybe you want to add a financial literacy course to your existing program, there's a module here you can follow to see how to incorporate that into your program. We also have the Pitney Bowes Workforce Development Collection in there, but as you can just see, there's lots of online courses here that are free to you. Understanding finance and money. If that's something you're, like say, you're trying to build that program. And in some cases, not all cases, they'll cross-reference materials in our program. So like if you're using Control Your Money already, which a lot of you do, and if they mention that in the online module, that will just help you enhance your program. All right, we can go to the next one. I just wanted to let you know that this was here and this one is free. Sometimes I get a lot of calls. As you can see up on the top there, this is free to individual and organizational members. That's what you are. So you'll receive basic literacy and ESL tutor training. So this course is be very important to all the programs. And this is something you could go in through the summer, maybe when it's a little slower, and you could do this online and look at the training materials. It's free to you. So I just wanted to make sure that sometimes some people think they have to pay those additional fees. It's not, it's free for you. And on the next slide, this is something that I did try to find it within the modules and I didn't see it, but I know it's something they're working on. They're working on a workforce curriculum for immigrants with limited English. And the course is going to be the Success in Business curriculum. I have a feeling if it'll be on there soon, and if not around the Pro Literacy conference time. But this is something they've been working on for quite some time. We are working with a lot of folks on a national level as far as the refugee and immigration, things that are going on right now. And we are trying to figure out a way to, on a larger scale, to help. And so you're going to continue to see more and more of these benefits and opportunities on the Pro Literacy website. So this will be something to be looking for very soon. And it's free to you. All right. And then I think that we've hit on this a lot, but I just want to touch on it again. As part of our partnership, Patrick has always been asking for ways that can benefit your program, on a large scale. He's always looking large scale. And so what we've done is, since right now the big need is for some, upskill and, folks want to get into programs, but they really want to focus on what's important to them. They want these careers. They want to try a new job. And so the one thing about Engine, what it does is it's very good at that. There's a career pathway courses in there at all levels, beginning and higher level. They just added, just this past week, introduction into cosmetology. They have English for the automotive industry. They just added one for commercial driver's license. They have one for food and health safety. It just goes on and on and on, the career pathways. But what we are doing right now for MACAE members is you can receive, with a minimum purchase of 25 licenses, it's a discount at the seat at $100 a seat. Hope I said that right. But it's a minimum purchase, 25 licenses for $100 a seat. And the promo code there's MACAE25. Now that's only good through June 30th. So it's just this month. But what I've been telling several of you that have called is once you have the quote in the system, the quote is good for 60 days. So you don't have to panic. You just need to plan. But this is a wonderful program that is really focusing on what's everyone's talking about right now. Okay, the next one. All right, and the next one is if you're seeing an influx of refugees in your program, as I said, Learning Upgrade, the main company, and Pro Literacy are working together. We just did something in Utah. One thing that we have found with some of the NGOs, if I'm saying this correctly, is that when a refugee does come into your area, one of the first things they're giving us is a cell phone. And so because of the cell phone, that's the quickest way that we can reach them to help them and help them with their education needs. There's a need for that. And so Learning Upgrade is one of the bigger vendors that helps in this area. So what they've done is put together a special offer for you for MACAE. Once again, Patrick was looking for something to support your programs in a large scale. So we put this together. You can save 20% off, minimum of 25 licenses. You can work with other programs to pull together to get the 25 licenses. And the promo code is LU MACAE. And once again, I can help with any quotes. And if you want to try it for the summer, a 90-day pilot for free, that's available as well. But these are only things that are being offered to MACAE members. So I just want to let you know that they are special offers that they're not happening in any other state right now for you. Patrick likes you. Okay. And then the next thing we have is on our website. If you go to the website, I know a lot of you are using our CASA score boost. We have a free study guide on there that can help you with your lesson planning and strategies for your classroom. So I would highly encourage you to go to the website. If you go to the CASAs, just click on those books and say learn more, scroll down to the bottom, you'll see this free study guide and you can download that. And I think we're at the last one, Patrick. Okay. All right. So anyway, if you were at the recent conference, the MAETC, I was offering a free shipping promo code. That promo code is still good, so we can go ahead and still use that. So it's MAETC22, and that's to receive free shipping on any orders of $100 or more. And if you need any help with a quote, reach out. Otherwise, you can go online and you can do it all online and just enter that promo code. As long as the order is over $100, you can get your free shipping. And as always, I'm available to help with sample request forms, whether it's print or digital. I know it's a busy time, and if you need more information on anything, all you ever have to do is reach out and I'm happy to help. And I thank you for letting me join, Patrick, but I thought it was nice that we could touch on all their opportunities they have through pro literacy. And I hope they use some of them, especially News for You.
Thank you so much, Elaine. I just want to thank you for your partnership. A lot of times I call or email Elaine and say, hey, I've got a crazy idea. And she says, okay, walk me through it. Tell me what your request is or what you're looking at. And really, we're looking at just making sure that you all as different programs and the different types of programs you offer and have, that you have the resources available to do the jobs that you all do. And whether that's through free resources or including this, like we have as a part of your MACAE membership. You know, we're really just trying to look at making sure you have access to this. And we get a lot of information, a lot of emails. And I know some of this we've already been sending out, but I just thought it would be good for Elaine to come and just remind us of these opportunities. And as she said, you know, the summer is sometimes kind of a time to go down a good rabbit hole and explore some of these things and kind of plan for next year and kind of look at the opportunities ahead. So please reach out to Elaine directly. If you've got questions, she is amply prepared to walk with you through many of these different opportunities and can really kind of work with you on samples and trials and all of that that's engaged and involved with that. And if you need her information, it's there on our screen. But thank you so much, Elaine, for your time and for sharing all.
All right, so nice to see everybody. If I don't see you before fall, have a wonderful summer, and I'll look forward to seeing everyone this fall. And just email me anytime and I'll be happy to help. Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you. All right. Thanks again to Elaine for sharing that information. And we will move forward with some important updates regarding the rest of the membership. Just a few important early childhood and family updates. One is that about 2 months ago in April, a survey was sent out to K through 5, any educator, administrator, support staff that works with children in ages K through 5. And it is a read by grade 3 educator response survey. And so that deadline is fast approaching. So if you work in any of those spaces and work with those populations, I'd encourage you to respond to that survey. It really is trying to analyze some of the trends, gap areas that we're seeing around the K through 5 population is primarily as a result of the pandemic, but also specifically around the read by grade 3 response initiative that's been going forward. Also, some of you I know are responsible for reporting and grant requirements outside of your day-to-day operations. You do all these other things. And just a reminder that the Section 31A funding annual program and fiscal report is due within the Nexus system. And so if you're unfamiliar with 31A funding, then you don't have to pay attention to that. But I know some of you do work specifically with that funding stream, and just wanted to remind you of that deadline for the year-end reporting for 31A funding opportunities. Some important information, I would say, regarding the Department of Education as well as youth populations. The first is that they are seeking nominations for the Education Support Staff Person of the Year. I think this is a great opportunity for you to submit nominations, and it's available until September 12th, and I've included the link there. So please look at doing that and encouraging that participation for all of you. Also, the last bullet there is that there are expected revisions to the test for teacher certification. And so the department has formed a working committee. So if that's something that you're interested in and being involved in that professional space, they have multiple work groups that are involved in the different aspects of the teacher test for teacher certification. But if that's something that you're interested in joining, I'd encourage that, and something for you to look at. And then this middle one, not to go down a rabbit hole here, but there are going to be some updated certification appropriate placement changes effective really this spring, May and to June, the summer of 2022, because the state of Michigan, the certification department within the Department of Education has realigned how it awards teacher certification for any teacher certification 2022 and beyond. So this is not applicable to teachers that already have their teaching certification or credential, but essentially they are breaking down, and if I can click here, I will show you. Essentially, they are reorganizing how they award teacher certification. And so the chart here would tell you where those certifications would be applicable in terms of placement within the K-12 system. And you can see it's much more broken down than maybe current teacher holders. For example, my certification is 6 through 12 English and Spanish. And so this is a different alignment with that. All of that being said, you can see that there's a note here about due to the staffing shortages and teachers with new endorsements and due to really just the crisis in educator shortages, some of these shortages are a little more flexible. And certainly districts can also use sub-permits and special authorizations from the department around teacher certification and extraordinary circumstances. There's also the critical shortages list, which in some ways I think is a little bit ironic now because now everything's a critical shortage, but that is still an opportunity and flexibility for retired personnel to come back and be rehired by a school district. So essentially the takeaway from this is that there are potential graduates from this semester and exiting from post-secondary institutions with these new teacher certification requirements or certification placements, I guess I would say. And so they have different flexibility with the courses that they're able to teach and the different subjects that they might be responsible for. So again, this does not change your current teaching staff or your current structure of the certifications that they have. All of those are valid. You still can plug them in where you need to, but they have gone through a process of reorganizing future teacher certification. So over the next few years, I think we'll continue to see this as potentially new, teachers with certification are entering into any of our programs and are going to be having different certifications than maybe we're familiar with, or on their certification, it may look a little bit different, or they're going to have some different endorsements than what we are particularly used to seeing. So just wanted to introduce this to you. I think that in this time and space right now, we may not see this widespread, but certainly probably in the fall and into the next year or so, I think we're going to see more of these teacher certifications that are newer, 2022 and beyond, entering into our system and our spaces. So just wanted to make you aware of that. I definitely think that there's an opportunity here for future professional development, and have the Department of Education come to our fall conference or other avenues to share this information. So if you're interested in that, you can put something in the chat and we can do a presentation on that. But just wanted to make you aware of that there may be some individuals who have recently graduated that may be applying for different positions, and want to make you aware of those teacher certification changes. So please let me know if you have questions about that as we go forward. But again, it's not applicable to anyone prior to the year 2022. It's only for new teacher certifications. And as of right now, there is a limited pool who would be graduating at this point with those certifications. In terms of our adult education and integrated education and training resources, I wanted to share with you a few updates. The first is that, as we shared earlier, we had a delegation go to our COABE conference, which was the National Coalition on Adult Basic Education. And there was a lot of conversation just around the alignment of adult education services with pre-apprenticeship and apprenticeship opportunities. And so I think in the next few months, we will see a lot of curriculums being introduced that talk about that share information about what that looks like. And I would ask you just to be aware of that. We will try to share that information. But essentially, we will be looking at additional funding stream opportunities that may become available across the nation for programs that are aligning a lot of their services to pre-apprenticeship or apprenticeship activities. We are in a good position within our state, where I know that many agencies are already doing that, or already working with training providers and are moving in that direction. We have the Section 107 special programs under adult education that many are aligned or are ready to be aligned to apprenticeship ready opportunities. So I think we're in a good space to kind of move forward in that way. But the other thing I would share is that, nationally, our team really saw that many programs are going through shifts and change of how they administer programming, whether that's in a continued all virtual setting, hybrid, or all virtual setting, and what the implications of that are for personnel, for funding, for resources, and what that looks like. And then I would say another thing that came up is the delivery of adult education service through different mechanisms and vessels, and whether that looks like from a statewide perspective, whether that's through a regional lens, whether that's through a community college system, a public school system, a workforce development system, or a combination of all of the above. Michigan is not unique in the sense of its nuanced design of adult education delivery, and other states are right there as well. So I think there will continue to be advocacy as well around increased funding opportunities nationally, around Wioa, the Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act, and other areas. Any of our delegation, Tammy, anything else, any other trends that you wanted to bring forward from COABE?
No, I think you did a great job of summarizing. I will say it seems in some ways, as we seem so unclear about IET, we're actually ahead of where some of the other states are. So it felt good to know that we're in the mix and we're in the right direction.
The other update is a few weeks ago, just as a reminder, we did have an informational session for providers that might be interested in going through the certification to become a CLEP testing site. A CLEP testing site would be a college level preparation testing site, similar to if you have a high set or GED. Actually, if you have high set, you're really almost there. You basically have to sign the document and you can be already an authorized CLEP testing center site. But essentially, we wanted to introduce this to different programs throughout our membership, because we know that many of you are working with families, adults, youth that are transitioning to post-secondary. And if they were to go and take the time to do a CLEP test, they could potentially test out of a number of credits, ultimately saving them on tuition, utilizing their federal grants for maybe remedial classes or other scenarios like that we often see. And they could do that right from the comfort of the program that they're already used to familiar with and going to. So I know some of you are going to be working on that this summer. And so again, we'll send the link out to that again, but I would just encourage you to possibly look at that. The administration or the certification is estimated to take about 5 hours. And if you, like I said, if you have a GED testing site or a HiSET testing site, you probably fulfill all the parameters already, because you do have to have a dedicated space and a dedicated computer for that. And then without going into it too much, there are funding streams that are available right now to help participants cover the cost of that test. So I know that that's another added challenge, is that our participants sometimes don't have the additional funding to take those tests, but there is a state level funding stream right now that would cover the cost of that test. And so wanted to make that available. So that might be something that you're interested in continuing to look at and to take a look at. The third bullet there is a quick update on the MyStairs grant program. If you remember, the MyStairs program grant was awarded to the Department of Labor and Economic Opportunity about a year ago, coming on a little more than a year ago, actually. And it provides 1,000 apprenticeship licenses or opportunities across our state. 200 of those seats are specifically dedicated to learners without a high school equivalency or high school diploma. So MACAE and our adult education office have been meeting with others within the apprenticeship office of the Department of Leo to talk about how will this work? What is the opportunities that are available here? And essentially what this would look like is a grant opportunity, and we're still looking and analyzing at the best way to deliver that based on experiences with Futures for Frontliners and with other grant opportunities. But essentially, providers would be able to provide co-enrollment in an adult education program with a training provider that leads to apprenticeship or an industry recognized credential with an employer. And so we're looking at 200 spaces that would be fully funded and paid for. Each program that participated would receive a small administrative fee to help deliver those services. The state would also receive an administrative grant to help deliver those services, and possibly MACAE as a partner in that as well. But the entire program is meant to really provide an opportunity for access to apprenticeship for populations that historically have not been able to be engaged. So there's a lot of moving pieces and a lot of elements. The plan, though, is a multi-year plan. Essentially, there's reporting requirements over the next 2 to 3 program years, so starting July 1 and going forward. And so our MACAE office, as well as the Department of Leo folks, both in the adult education office and the apprenticeship office, are going to continue to meet. We had a meeting last week. We'll meet again towards the end of June to kind of nail down the specifics. And hopefully, as we have programs return into a more functional or widespread operation in the fall, we'll have that grant opportunity available and really kind of do some informational sessions about what that would look like. But ultimately, it's creating this opportunity for our participants to go through the program of adult education, also be enrolled in an apprenticeship program, and then walk right onto a job and have employment. And I think that that's the trajectory and a lot of behind the scenes moving parts, but I'm optimistic and hopeful about that wonderful opportunity that we just haven't seen necessarily widespread. And then the second thing I just want to share was this interesting article that I saw just about the uncertain pathway from youth or really graduating to finding stable or good employment and what that means. You know, we're seeing so much of our population that, you know, we're all experiencing it, where we really are working ourselves to the grind, and what that really looks like. And what is the quality level of employment? What does that look like in the 21st century? What does that look like in terms of expectations that maybe younger workers are having versus those that have been in the workforce for a while. What are the benefits that different employers are offering? I was just reading an article yesterday about a UK company that's going to a 4-day work week as a standard, and what the implications are that for their workforce and for their outcomes. So I think it's just important for us to be kind of in tune with those things and trends as we look at our integrated education and training opportunities going forward, and just keeping a pulse on what's happening. A few advocacy things as I transition a little bit that we do want to share with you as we kind of come to the end of the year. And much of this we could have an entire and complete conversation around. But part of the work of MACAE is also to sign on to kind of bigger picture advocacy initiatives that impact the populations that are within our membership that we serve. One of those that we signed on to was through TICAS, which is a advocacy and a public policy group focused on college access, affordable, accessible, equitable college access across the country. And so they have a sign on to increase the tuition cap that is accessible, and in particular for marginalized populations, that they would be able to access additional funding streams federally for tuition assistance. And so we feel like that's within our wheelhouse and our values as an association to sign on to that. The other is around the use of the 2020 census data. So in some isolated incidents, this sign-on came to us from our partners at the Michigan League for Public Policy. In some instances, using the 2020 census data singularly alone for that year there seem to be some abnormalities in some cases, particularly in some of our urban setting and some of our marginalized population setting. In Michigan, that's been identified as the city of Detroit, as well as the city of Flint, is that using that 2020 year data alone may skew some of the data compared to prior years or to estimated years going forward. And so part of our federal allocations for funding, part of our state allocations for funding in many different spaces, not just related to our funding streams that we see for many of our programs, utilize the most recent year census data. And so this sign-on letter really was indicating that we should be looking at the broad span of the last 5 years of data and really kind of taking that average data to make better informed decisions and making sure that the implications of 1 year of maybe not having comprehensive data are not causing more systemic problems or long-term implications that could be harmful to those populations and to our states as a whole. So that's something that we also felt was within our wheelhouse, is to really advocate to look at the last 5-year American Census Bureau data, as opposed to just one singular year of data from the 2022 census. And then the last public comment that we participated in was on the proposed performance levels for Wioa. We did send this out, and we could talk about this at a further if you've got questions about it, but we did comment and look at the proposed levels that our adult education office within the Department of Leo has put forward around Title II performance for adult education services. Overall, we felt, pretty confident that those negotiated levels, as they go through that process with the Federal Office of Adult Education, we're consistent and we're acknowledging the implications of COVID. We continued to articulate that would be important just to kind of reevaluate that and to assess that as we go through, and that the implications of the pandemic are going to be widespread for multiple program years over multiple times and years and spaces. And so happy to share that out again if you want to look at that, but we did provide some commentary on that and expected that feedback is taken into account when they're having conversations with the Federal Adult Education Office. We've been a little busy with our advocacy as we kind of round out the end of this year. And just one thing that I wanted to open up to you is in addition to all the work that we do, really reaching out and letting your local policymakers know about the work you do is so important. And if you've been following the election, which I know many of us are trying to avoid because it just seems like that's all we ever hear about is election. But an independent redistricting commission was established in our state last year, really in 2020, and did a bulk of its work in 2021. But they have realigned our state and federal district maps, which means that many of the policymakers that you're familiar with may be leaving because they're term limited, but also you may have new elected officials running for office because the districts that you're familiar with are going to be changing. Now, I will just say that if you live sometimes in a rural community, that it's not going to change too much just because you're already kind of in a wide swath geographically and population density. But we are seeing that in some districts across the state, especially in our populated areas, like on the eastern side of the state and the western side of the state, districts are wholly changing. Municipalities that were once with one representative representing the entire district are now cut up into 3 or 4. And it really is to try to balance in a bipartisan way what that looks like for the electorate. So something that we want to encourage you to do this summer is to really look at your newly drawn maps. They are changing. I want to make sure that people recognize and understand that. They're changing for the state house, they're changing for the state senate, and they're also changing for the congressional districts for the US Congress. So please take a look at that. You're seeing many incumbents that are going to have to move or shift to different districts. You're going to see them running against each other in primaries or in the general electorate election. So please, I would encourage you to take some time, because when after the election this fall, when we get into 2023, you may see that the senator or the state senator or the state house representatives person that you're so familiar with knowing may not be a representative anymore, or they may have lost. And so this is just important that we keep a pulse on this. Over the summer, we will be looking at doing a number of candidate forums as we get into the fall as well. And we'll be reaching out to different programs to talk about what that looks like. But essentially 2 things. Look at the district map. We've included the link there, and you can go there and you can analyze the district maps that you're a part of and look at the changes there. But also look at and watch for what the candidates are saying. Their primaries coming up on August 2nd. Oftentimes our general electorate is not engaged in the primaries, and we absolutely need to be engaged in the primaries. That's where sometimes the most consequential votes happen, are at the primaries, is the inter-party dynamics. And what's important there is understanding where those candidates stand on the issues that we care about, and for the people that we care, that we work with, for and with. And then the general election is November 8th. So it's fast approaching. And I would just encourage you to take a look and pay attention to those things this summer, and to really kind of just look at the district realignments, because they have changed quite a bit. And finally, I think that we're coming to the end here of our time, is we do have one more professional development opportunity available. If you're looking for those last minute sketches, you can go onto our website. We have a professional development on leadership called Perspective, Progress, and Purpose. We'll be joined by a guest speaker, Dr. Don Finn from the Coalition on Adult Basic Education, the past president, and leave you hopefully inspired for the work that you've accomplished this year and the work ahead for next year. So please join us. You can go on to the website, MACAE.org, and register for that. And I would be remiss if I didn't put into the chat, we do have an ongoing membership survey that we hope that you will finish and complete. I know it just takes a few moments to complete. I would ask you please to take the time to complete that membership survey. We specifically use that information. It's anonymous, but we specifically use that information to better inform our practice. So when that looks like the types of information we send out, the professional development that we deliver, the partnerships that we are dedicated to forming and working on, the strategic planning process that our board goes through and will be going through this summer, we use that information directly from you all to better inform the work that we're doing. So please, if you can, take the time to complete that membership survey. And we do use that information to really help a lot of the survey. I'll just give you some examples of how that's been successful. That's helped us to let us know what types of professional development have been important, and let us know that opportunities like this might be important to do these virtual check-ins periodically so that we can stay engaged. It's let us know, what different advocacy partners that we should be including and being part of be in different dialogue with. And we've done that. We've reached out to different partners and are engaged in those different ways. So that survey is really important for us as an organization and as an association to be working on your behalf better. So, well, we're coming to the end of our time, but I just want to end on a really high note and say we are very much looking forward to next year. We already, no rest for the weary, right? We're already having plans for the next year. Just as a reminder, and please spread this far and wide to your colleagues and people that you work with. Our fall conference, we're very excited, will be in Muskegon in the fall, November 14th through the 16th. It is a Monday through a Wednesday, which is different than we've done in a few of the past years, but we are moving forward with it. We're very excited about that. So please mark your calendars for that. We hope that we will have some pricing information available here in the next week or two that we can share out once our conference committee signs off. Also, we are going to be updating our website this summer, which we're excited about. And then you can always go and look at our MACAE Professional Development YouTube page. We've got over 100 videos there from all of our different informational sessions and webinars. We launched that at the beginning of 2020. And I was just looking at it yesterday. We've got over 100 videos that are useful tools if you want to go back and look at some of those opportunities there. All of the fall conference information is available there, as well as our Spring Institute Professional Development Series, and then any of our informational sessions from each month that we do. And then the last thing that I'll share with you is that we are looking to reorganize our MACAE membership into organizational rates, so that organizational rate, you'd be able to pay for your agency to be a member of the association. And then that would include certain professional development opportunities. It would not necessarily include the fall conference or the Spring Institute, but many of the monthly professional developments, either virtually or in person, that we provide, it would be included within your MACAE membership rate. So again, more information will be coming forward on that, and we'll be communicating directly with folks as that changes. And we'll walk you through that process of how that will work and what that will look like. But the ultimate goal is to make it easier for everyone to just pay once, and then you have access to all of this information, all of these details, and really get to expand the opportunities that you have access to and that your colleagues have access to as being a member of the association. So we're hopeful that that will be a benefit to everyone. And as we go through the summer and the fall and do the billing for membership, we might just have to talk through that and explain that again. But ultimately, the benefit will be then that you don't have to budget for some of these smaller professional development opportunities, because it will already be included within your MACAE membership. So that's a benefit that we see for the long term, to try to make it also easier on the administrative side as you're planning for program years as well. You just are a MACAE member and you get access to all the things. So thank you all for your participation. Please
Patrick,
fill out
can
the
I add
membership
one?
survey. Yeah, go ahead, Tammy.
I'd just like to also ask, if you, as you guys are transitioning back to some in-seat or more hybrid or virtual or whatever you're going to be doing, if you're reaching out and using new vendors that we have not had as part of our program and discounts before, please share them with Patrick and I, because we can possibly get you discounts like we are with New Readers Press and EdGen. But we have to be aware of what's out there, and there might be new opportunities out there for best practices and vendor partnerships that we don't even know are going on across the state. So please, if you're working with someone, be sure to share it, because you might think you're the only one, but you may not be, and then there's opportunities for discounts. That's it.
And I just want to say thank you, everyone. Thank you to our board of directors, Tammy, under Tammy's leadership, and all the rest of our board of directors for a great year. We so appreciate all of you for your contributions. And I hope that even though many of us work through the summer, it's a little more restful, hopefully, and we can take some time away and spend some time with family and friends, maybe breathe a little easier, and then come back fully recharged and rejuvenated as our programming ramps back up as we turn back into August time. So thank you all for just a great year. We've had a wonderful year here at the association, and we will bid a fond farewell to those of you that may have to sign off as we come to the end of our time. But we will stay on and do some specific question and answer if you've got that, but we'll stop the recording for that. But have a great summer, everyone, and we'll look forward to seeing you soon if you do have to leave us. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.